Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we are just under a week removed from the launch of the latest mini set, which we talked about yesterday. Kind of a disaster. It's been interesting. But yeah, should we expect nerfs this week? What would they be if they happened? I don't think we are going to get nerfs this week, to be completely honest. We'll talk about why, and also the cards that I think really need to get hit, and it's not just that hideous looking card. Although, can they nerf the artwork? It's a little creepy. Whether it's the signature or the regular, just a weird looking card. Anyways, we're gonna go into all of that. It's our final day to enter that giveaway for our Mythic Ragnaros, where we're giving away one out of my pocket. To enter that giveaway, like and comment in the video, link down description below, the one with that thumbnail over there. Be subscribed to the channel. If we manage to hit, I think we're like 400 subs away for the next 1,000 tomorrow. So I don't know, tell your cat or your dog or whoever to hit that sub button. Make me go broke. I'll add another portrait to that giveaway. And a quick plug, I have added memberships to the channel. If you enjoy the content, you want to help support me additionally, you get some like badges, emotes. You'll have like highlighted messages in the comments down below. I'm gonna try and start streaming more on YouTube. I really haven't like at all, and this would be a better value then. But if you don't want to, don't worry about it. It's just there if you want to support. It's something I thought would be nice if you want to do it. But again, you might want to use that money to save towards, you know, Mythic Ragnaros, slightly more expensive. Anyways, yes, looking at the ranks, we looked at this yesterday, but you know, across all ranks, Mage at the top, it looks pretty decent outside of Rogue being like way down in the dumpster. And we look at the meta itself, it paints a slightly different story, right? Very aggressive meta right now. Well, mostly to combat Spell Mage. It has polarized the meta incredibly. So you have like Pain Warlock, which counters Mage, Pirate Demon Hunter, which counter all these top 4 decks counter Mage, and then you have Mage. So like it's really the counters versus Mage, and it's very aggressive decks fighting against Mage. And well, the meta itself is pretty darn aggressive, but Mage has really held back Deathlight. Outside of Blood DK is like the best deck against it. So Razzle Dazzle Deathlight is actually Blood Death Knight on here. It's outperforming the aggressive archetypes because the aggressive archetypes for Deathlight can't get under the water elementals. It's basically kill them by turn 5 or whatever, or move on, right? Like, or you try and control them. That's the other strat, which is really hard to do. But yeah, like a Deathlight can kind of do that. And it's led to just a really polarized meta. If you look at the popularity, it has gone down a little bit, but it's still obscene. Big Spell Mage is like over 20% of people playing that, period, across all ranks. At Diamond 1, 34% of players are playing that. If we go to like the last 3 days, you'll see it's gone down a little bit. Last 1 day, it's gone down a little bit, but still it's nearing like 20%, right? And I feel like it's not going to change a ton. And typically that warrants like a drastic change. The reason I don't think we're going to get a balance patch this week is typically they wait 2 weeks after a mini set. That's kind of the cadence, but I think they should be open to be more flexible when we have such a clear, at least popularity outlier. But yeah, if you look at the decks itself, like it's not a power outlier. So that's why I don't think they're going to accelerate it. They're going to keep to their 2 weeks. Like, oh, it's not a power outlier. Plus they get to sell Skyla in their mini set, which doesn't have a ton of cards that people really want to buy. I feel like there's probably going to be some jaded experience in there, but I think there's some merit to it. But outside of Big Spell Mage, which if you look at like the most popular list, it's all Skyla, right? The card is ridiculous. 60+% mulligan win rate, 60% played win rate, drawn win rate. It's absurd. Those type of numbers, completely unhealthy, have always been nerfed when that number hits. So this card pretty much guaranteed to get hit to like 6-7 mana to give more time for other decks. They don't like reworking the text on cards. It's like pulling teeth. They eventually do it on some cards like the Jailer or Yogg, but it's really rare. I would expect this to get nerfed by a mana, possibly 2. You could argue 7 mana is more than, you know, something, but I have a feeling like Mage hasn't been doing great. It's really propped up by 1 card that, yeah, they might try it at 6, see how that goes. I kind of want them to look at Conniving Conman. I just don't like the play pattern it creates, but if you look at the numbers for it, nothing stands out, right? It's one of those kind of just win more type of cards, whether it's how it works in Paladin, how it works in Mage. I think the very likely candidate here is Skyla, but To me, I'm not a huge fan of what the Hearthstone meta is like. If you look at like HS Guru, this is like Donkey Sight, you can see all the top deck slates, very similar to HS Replay, the counters to Mage. And I feel like at some point, can we tone down the aggression? Like, why is it always like the aggro decks are allowed to dominate forever and ever and kill you super early? I feel like that needs to change too. And in particular, there's one card that's an absolute standout that I feel like should get nerfed, and it would help not only standard, it would help wild, is this stupid pirate. Treasure Distributor. When this goes down on 1 and you don't have an answer, you're dead. You're just dead. And that's not healthy. A snowballing, not only does it snowball by buffing the minions on your board, but itself. And with all the patches summoned or the pirate summoning tokens, like you look at WoW, Parachute Brigand patches, you just lose unless you have like a Defile maybe. And if you're playing Defile, you're probably losing because you can't afford to play board clears of WoW. So this card, I feel like that buff was really short-sighted and it just creates a really toxic play experience. I think giving another pirate +1 attack on a 1/2 is more than incentive to play this card. It snowballing is just silly. And I feel like all the pirate decks should be slowed down a bit by that. And yeah, so to me, this is a change I think should happen. Again, who knows if it will. Again, I don't even think it's going to happen this week, but it's certainly something to consider. Another card, again, I don't think it would get nerfed, but that stands out a little bit is Hosen Roughhouser. The fact that you can like set up Sigil into Hosen, you can't interact with that. It's impossible. There's nothing you can do about that. And then they're attacking with 3 2/2s effectively. I just feel like this probably should have 1 less health. If South Sea Captain's a 3/3, why is this a 2/4? I don't know. It's minor, probably something not to really look out for, but just one that kind of peeves me. And the other deck is Pain Warlock, which has been nerfed multiple times and continues to be a menace. We had Molten Giant go to 22. We had Imprisoned Horror go to a 4/4. To me, this deck, I've said it since the card launched, and it's been a problem in WoW too. So again, they would help out both formats as mass production. This card is obscene. 1 mana, draw 2, plus the upside, pretty much always, of self-damage. I don't think it should be 1 mana. Feel like it should be 2. It's too ridiculous. 2 mana to draw 2 sounds a lot more fair than 1 mana to draw 2 with basically an upside, right? And Pain Warlock has been proven to be really frustrating for a long time. And because this is so cheap, it's so easy to cheat out Molten Giant, to cheat out Imprisoned Horror, which is the part of the deck that's super frustrating. Are these cards coming you down way too early? And that has been a consistent theme since its launch. So I don't think that they should just look at Big Spell Mage. I think they should look at the other aggro decks. In particular, they've been left, like, they've had a free pass for so long. And I do need to mention Insanity Warlock because I just don't understand this card, Crescendo, how it's okay. There are so many games I take over 30 damage throughout a game to this card. I don't think you stop it from going face because it kills the card, but at the very least, it shouldn't be free with your Popgar. And it's just probably my biggest peeve. And if you're going to hit Pain Warlock, they're just going to play Insanity Warlock. And likely if they hit Mage, you're going to go back to Insanity Warlock anyways. And Crescendo just stands out as, if we're not wanting mass healing or, you know, OTKs from in hand so easily, Crescendo should maybe not go face, but at least certainly not be 2 mana. And it's just a card that really stands out as a major frustration point. There are 2 other cards, at least to me, maybe this is a personal gripe, but I did want to mention them that stand out. Again, I don't understand why Desert Nest Matron is 0 mana. I mean, sorry, 4 mana, but really 0. I just feel like cards should cost mana. This should be 5, you refresh for 4. I just feel like Druid gets a free pass every time, and they're always near the top, at least at higher legend, with that ability. But there's a card, I'm going to just say it for the sake of Wild. I know Wild is not a priority, but to me, the Charge Druid thing going around is just obscene. And I honestly feel like Puppet Master Dorian deserves a Wild ban. Like, the thing this deck can do, whether it's Togwoggle or any of the other stuff, I feel like this card, first off, I just think it should be capped. I think it should be after your first strong minion in a turn, you get the 1. I don't think it should just be unlimited. I feel like there's just too much uncapped stuff in general in Hearthstone. But for Wild's sake, it's just a frustrating, ridiculous deck where you can die on turn 3 pure OTK where they either like togwoggle you or charge combo you. It's just gross. So to me, I think Wild deserves that. I know they got a patch recently, very recently, but why not, right? Like it's such a disgusting, horrible thing for that format. Or you just cap it and you help out Standard too, right? Like again, Sony's another card. I know Rogue's in the dumps because every time it's good, because of Sony it's so toxic, they have to nerf Lamplighter, Pupil, whatever. Instead of nerfing the cards that help, you know, Sony get busted, why not add caps in the game? I just feel like there's not enough of that. There's too much just unlimited stuff. It's the same thing like Sork Apprentice, unlimited 0 mana spells. They eventually cap it now, right? You can't go less than 1. I feel like Hearthstone needs more limits, but as you can tell, I feel like the game needs a mass power reset. I know that's not happening like now, especially like a new set's gonna be coming out. I think they really got to look at next gen rotation and make serious decisions about we need to slow this game down. I think the aggro decks have run a little bit too free lately. Druid, again, the free dragons and big Spell Mage. That's the stuff I'm looking at. And I don't even want to talk about buffs because I'm so sick of buffing stuff that leads to broken stuff. I want the game to slow down personally. But again, let me know in the comments down below what you agree with, disagree with. These videos are always very polarizing because a lot of people are going to disagree. A lot of people are going to agree. And I want to hear it because it's so subjective, right? Nobody's purely right. Nobody's purely wrong unless you're defending, you know, Shadow Step or something. But no, regardless, let me know how you feel about it in the comments down below. And again, hopefully we get a balance patch this week, but I wouldn't expect it. Most likely next week, but who knows? Maybe, fingers crossed, we get something. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.